Welcome to the Local Wellness Network, where community, connection, and well-being come together. I'm Christine Essex, and each week we bring you conversations with local and trusted wellness professionals who are making a real difference in the lives of individuals and families. Whether you're looking for solutions, inspiration, or resources to support your well-being journey, you're in the right place. Let's connect, learn, and grow together. Welcome to the Local Wellness Network, being filmed here in Las Vegas. And I'm your host, Christine Essex, and we have a guest today that is Steve Bosen, and you will get to meet him right here now. And Steve, where are you coming from?
I am coming from Neshota, Wisconsin, out in the frozen tundra up. I jokingly call it Southern Canada, but yeah, we're pretty cold up here.
Oh my gosh, what's it like today there?
Well, actually, we got a warming trend. It hit 20 degrees, but for the last couple of days, it's been hovering around 0 to below 0. So we're excited I'm actually excited a little later today. I'm going to go out for a walk with my Great Pyrenees dog and my wife and enjoy a little bit of nature without completely freezing to death.
Put the doggy booties on, right, for his little paws.
He's designed for the tundra, so it's no problem.
Wow. I know that you're a retired veteran, right? Yes. So tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
You bet. My entire adult life, I served in the Army up until about 11 years ago. I'm a retired senior Army officer, former Ranger, former entry officer, and spent 28 years in the Army, did 2 combat tours in Afghanistan, a peacekeeping operation to the Sinai Peninsula, which with this unit here I'm wearing, the 133 Infantry out of the Iowa National Guard. And I've also done a rotation through Korea. So I jokingly tell people I've lived 3 lives in one. But from the age of 17 till 46, I served in the Army. And so now I'm on my second act, and that is what we're going to talk about today, which is helping people through the use of frequencies.
Good. Well, I think that because you can, what's your title with that, with the frequencies? I know you have a couple different ones, but which one do you use?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I basically just go by the term frequency practitioner. I basically use frequencies to help people balance imbalances in their body, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that.
Okay, and then also, are you considered the quantum you're a quantum living?
Right. That's just a designation that the parent company that makes this scanner, they designate you as a quantum living advocate.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but I go by a frequency practitioner. I basically practice the use of frequencies to help people feel better.
And I was looking over some of your information, and I really like the way that you present that, because I too have been working with this scanner since it was in the very beginning. So 2020, maybe it was right before 20, so 19. But what happened was I had a wellness center, right? And I also had a son with a brain injury. Okay. So then someone invited me to their home. I heard about it. And right away I thought, man, this is like a wellness center in the palm of my hand, right? Because we started off with those little devices. And then there was the talk about the brain and how Lauren was, the person that had founded it, was going to move it more towards educating everyone and working with the brain. And that's really kind of where I started. Where did you start? How did you find out about this?
Well, it kind of started, so from this, really the genesis is from my service in the military, because I did a lot of physically demanding things. I've always been very big into health and wellness, taking care of myself. I had to be able to do what I did. And when you carry heavy weight on your body, like when you deploy in combat, people don't realize this from watching movies, but live ammunition is very heavy when you're carrying that on your body. And you have to wear ceramic plates to protect you from small arms fire. And so all that just tore my body down, even though I tried to take really good care of it. And also just the stress of being in combat, all that kind of works against your body. So I'd always been looking for that next modality to help me deal with a whole host of chronic problems. I won't bore the audience with all of my physical problems, but several pinched nerves, severe back problems, yeah, a lot of back problems, a lot of things that resulted in a litany of medical care. And so I was looking for a non-invasive way to take care of myself and help my body to heal. So about 8 years ago, I heard a woman on a podcast, much like this one, talk about how she was healing people with frequencies. And that kind of piqued my attention a little bit. But I didn't really pursue it much further because at the time I really hadn't quite grasped how powerful that was. I didn't understand the science behind it. I am really big into, the physiology of the human body. It fascinates me how well designed we are and how well our bodies can heal if you just give it the raw materials it needs and get out of its way. And so about 2.5 years ago, a man who became my sponsor was on a podcast. I was listening to it, and she was just making chit chat. Hey, what have you been up to? And he said, I heal people with frequencies, and here's my email address if you want a complimentary session. Well, I was like, hey, let me give this a try and see if it'll work for me. And so I reached out to him, and not but about a week later, he called me and said, hey, I want you to join my team. And I didn't understand how all that worked. I didn't understand the business structure and stuff at the time. I just knew I enjoy helping people. That's just kind of how I'm wired. That's what led me to serving the nation in uniform. And I'd always been looking for my second act, as I call it, after retirement. What can I do to continue to serve, my community, other people, in a different role? And so I said, sure, sign me up. Well, unbeknownst to me, he had about 900 people sign up to get free healing sessions. So he gave me some basic training on how to do it, gave me a protocol to follow to help people, because there is kind of some art and science to using the scanner, as you well know, Christine. And
Yes.
that's really how I got started on it. So here I sit talking to you. I've done 117 remote sessions for people all around the world. And then I've also become on the side, I've become a trainer of other people like us, quantum living advocates. I've trained them on how to use a scanner as well. So that's how I got into this. And, I will just tell you, I think, and I'll explain this more as we get into it, but I think everyone should have this device in their home. We'd be a much healthier population if we did. And it's so easy to have this scanner on any device that you have. It can be on your phone, on a tablet, on a desktop, laptop, wherever you're at. I travel a fair amount. I've been in the airport and a pain starts up in my foot, and I use the scanner right off my phone to help me relieve that pain.
Now, at that time, would you use more of what we call the Cephi, or would you run like a full scan, or what when you're in the airport and your foot's bothering you, what's your go-to?
Well, it'd probably be better if I kind of show the scanner. So John, if you could kind of show the screen that they have the scanner on, I'll kind of walk you through the process. And this is basically what AO scan looks like. This technology uses a couple different types of frequencies, and it's really based on research from Nikola Tesla over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein, and a scientist from Britain called Royal Rife, or it goes by Raymond Rife. You kind of use both terms. And so this technology is not new, folks. It's been around for 40 or 50 years. Several of the major space programs use this on their astronauts and cosmonauts. And this technology was founded by a man named Lawrence Swenson. He was the man that founded the company that makes this, called Solex. And he was actually trying to help his adopted son, get better from cerebral palsy. So he had traveled around the world. He had gone to different, technology fairs and that kind of stuff. And he actually purchased this original technology from the Chinese. And then he just went on perfecting it. The first device that he created was like a lounger. You had to lay in it to get the effect of the frequencies. But as technology got better, and he grew better in terms of understanding how the frequency would work, he was able to essentially digitize this and transmit it through the web, which is what we use today. We use a web-based application. The servers are located in Orem, Utah. And when you push a button, that's where that's where the information comes from and then gets transmitted as frequencies. So to answer your question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, originally it was like $38,000, right?
Yep,
To actually get the frequencies. And so that was not in anyone's budget, but there were people who were using it. And then Lauren came in and then kind of collaborated with someone else, and that's when they took it to make it more for all of us, right? So that it's possible for all of us. I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw that in because I find that quite fascinating.
No, absolutely. That's a great point.
The evolution. Yes, Go ahead.
So basically, to answer your question, when you use a scanner, first of all, the AO scan has about 7 different scans. It's got quick scan, easy scan, the inner voice scan, vitals, body systems, comprehensive, and multi-scan. And I'll kind of explain what each one of those are. Quick scan's more like if you're in a hurry, you've only got about 3 minutes. All you do is go in there, and if it's first thing in the morning, you just do a 10-second voice imprint, and it scans that voice imprint and will provide about 3 minutes worth of frequencies for you to listen to. They're pleasing. It's something you want to hear through your auditory nerve, and it kind of helps your brain get instructions on how to heal based on that scan. My favorite scan is the easy scan, and I'll kind of show you this. Yeah. I do this every day. It's the first thing I do in the morning. And what easy scan is it does 3 scans in one. It does your inner voice scan, so you give it a 10-second voice imprint. One of the things people don't realize is your voice is unique to you. It's like your thumbprint. And what easy scan does is, and this is also the inner voice part of easy scan, which inner voice is its scan unto itself, but it scans 12 different zones or 12 notes, which contain about 2,000 frequencies per note. So really, it's scanning about 24,000 frequencies in about 45 seconds. It's amazing how it works. Once it does the inner voice scan, then it goes on and scans the vitals. And so when it scans the vitals, it's basically scanning blood, lymph, basically the fluids, And here's an important point. I want to make this very clear to everybody. This is not a diagnostic tool. It's not akin to a CAT scan or an MRI. Those also use frequencies, but in a different way, different modulation, that kind of thing. What this is doing is scanning the energy in your blood. It probably goes back, I'll walk through the scans, and I should go back and kind of explain the fact that we're all energetic beings. But basically, the easy scan will scan your vitals, like I said, and then your comprehensive, which is your organs, your fascia, your musculoskeletal system, those kind of things. And so it gives you 3 scans in one. And what I like about it is it will come back, and easy scan just extrapolates those values that would not optimize after it optimized the frequencies. I'm going to explain this right now because people need the foundational understanding. So we are all energetic beings, okay? We have a physical experience. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field. Your brain, your nervous system generates an electrical field. This all contributes to what we call your biofield. Everybody has a energetic field around them, okay? And what AO scan, I kind of use a cell phone analogy to explain to people how this works. So what I do with a client is I put this basic information. This is my profile. All you need is your first name, last name, your gender, your weight, your height, your date of birth, and then I prefer to use a picture, even though Solex says it's recommended but not required. I still use a picture because it helps the scanner, in my opinion and from my experience, helps the scanner better lock in on a person's biofield. And basically, I'm sorry?
I said I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So basically what this does is, so it dials, essentially that becomes your energetic cell phone number for your biofield. The scanner dials that biofield, gathers information about what is imbalanced in that person's biofield. So do you have kidney cells vibrating out of range? Because people a lot smarter than us, or scientists, have figured out that a healthy human being vibrates within this range. Some people call it the divine blueprint. I call it the sweet spot. But the bottom line is, it determines what cells are vibrating outside of that healthy range and figures out what's in balance, and then it analyzes that and determines what supportive frequencies are needed to resonate with those frequencies, thereby canceling them out. And so essentially what AOScan does is create a safe space for the body to start healing itself. Now, what causes the body to not be able to heal itself? Poisons, toxins, EMF, our own negative emotions. Our emotions carry frequencies that can affect the body. And this has all been supported by scientific studies, and also other people's emotions. We've all probably experienced that boss who was toxic, or a work environment that was toxic, or unfortunately, some people in certain families, I've encountered people that I've worked sessions on where they're in an environment where they can't heal because a family member is extremely toxic towards them. And so all those
even their own, but even their own thoughts about themselves.
Correct.
Is made in the whole paradigm of that stuff.
No, you're absolutely right. So what we think translates in the physical. And so if a great example is the hypochondriac. Someone who is constantly worrying that they're going to get sick or talking about being sick, guess what? Typically they end up being sick in some way, shape, or form, because the body starts to shape to that reality that they create. Our conscious, we don't get taught this, Christine, but our consciousness is extremely powerful in how it shapes how our body reacts to it. And so all that plays into how AOScan works. But the bottom line is, what AOScan does is it supports the body in healing itself, in a nutshell. And that was important. I should have done that at the outset, but this supports what I'm talking about with doing these scans.
I think it's perfect because basically it's putting it into balance, looking for what's out of balance, bringing it into balance. And so there are some numbers that I don't want to leave today and not have you explain that. Like when somebody runs a scan and they see the 1 through 9 numbers, and they're looking, because we're both on the same page with that, wanting to not use it on a daily basis of, oh no, but more like, you look for the pattern, correct?
Correct.
But the 1 is low and the 9 is high. Is that how you work with?
I'll explain a little bit differently. So here you have kind of the scale that helps people, understand it.
Perfect.
So as you read these scans, if you see an 8 or 9, what that means is either there's inflammation, it's an acute condition, something that just kind of came up recently, or it's overactive. It depends on what it is. I can't tell you it's always going to apply, because it depends on what the value is that it's being applied to. On the other end of the spectrum, the 1s and 2s tend to be something that could be a chronic condition, something you've had for weeks, months, possibly even years. Okay. And it's low functioning. That's basically what it's looking at energetically.
Okay, good. I think it's important because, well, especially for those who are just getting started with it or working with someone, you look at those numbers and you're kind of like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And one of the things I use it for is the food sensitivity on the Easy Scan. I love that because I know right away in the morning when I do that scan what not to eat that day. Just that day, not the rest of my life, which could be an interpretation by others, right? No, it's today. And it doesn't mean you're allergic to it. It means you're going to have a harder time digesting it today. And I think that is fascinating and so helpful on a daily basis. I just want to throw that in because
so AOScan has over 120,000 frequencies programmed into its database. So what you're talking about, Christine, is as it scans your biofield, it measures your biofield against its normal baseline database. So, pork vibrates at this frequency. Well, that may not align with your biofield. That's what you're talking about. You might want to avoid pork for about 12 to 24 hours. Doesn't mean you can never have it again. And again, it's not to be used to determine food allergies. It's just saying you might not agree with that food right now.
Right. And I appreciate you explaining that.
Absolutely. And one of the other things I love about this, you see a lot of red and orange. People tend to like, because remember, it's only extrapolating from the vitals and from the comprehensive, those values that were not able to be balanced as of that scan. Doesn't mean they're not ever going to be balanced. Okay.
Right.
I scan myself probably 4 or 5 times a day, because the more you balance and optimize your biofield, the less physical problems you tend to have. The other thing is, you'll see it in the scans. Look at my food sensitivities. This list used to be like this long when I first started scanning 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Look what's coming up now. I've got basically 4 food sensitivities. I just scanned myself this morning before we came on and went live here. And
I was impressed. Yeah, I was impressed.
You're going to start seeing less and less things. The other thing in these scans, which is really cool, and here's another way you read this. As you look at these scans, where it says previous scan, don't think previous scan, think unoptimized values, and then read it from right to left. And you go over to left, think optimized. So this is what it looked like after we applied the supportive or optimizing frequencies to balance the imbalances. There's some things that just weren't ready to be balanced at that point in time. What I really look for in these scans, and your point's valid. A lot of people freak out when they look at these reports. What I'm looking for is stuck energy. So the first place I start to go look is in the chakras. And that, for some people, that turns folks off. They think it's a new age thing. This is based on Chinese medicine, which is over 3,000 years old. Okay. And chakras, and not just Chinese, but also Eastern medicine, we'll just call it. And really, your chakras are your energetic circuit breakers. Remember what I said at the beginning? We are energetic beings having a physical experience. Energy flows through our body. What I found is, as energy gets stuck in certain spots, that is when you start to have problems and manifest. And I'll give you a real world personal testimonial here when we get to the meridians. So if you look here, as you read this, on the right hand side, I had my heart chakra was low functioning. That's what the blue means. Green means you're nominal. Okay. Well, the scanner optimized that. If you look on the right, this is where it's optimized. Now, if you see a value here where it looks like, hey, it's normal to begin with, how did it get worse? That's not the case. What happens is the body is smart. Energy gets moved from areas that are stronger to help the weaker areas. So probably my sacral chakra, that was a strong place. It got moved to shore up my heart chakra to help it optimize. That's how the scanner works. The scanner is extremely intelligent, and so is your body. It works hand in hand with it.
That's a great explanation.
Thank you. And so with the meridians, again, your meridians are energetic circuit breakers in the body, and I'm looking for stuck parts. So let me give you a personal testimony. 3 months ago, I had a really bad migraine come up, and I've had migraines, I'll have them a couple times a year. It started after my second tour in Afghanistan. I was commanding a large element, over 1,000 people. I was under a tremendous amount of stress. I started developing really debilitating migraines, which I get every now and then. I get it a couple times a year. And some of this, I think, results from my PTSD and so forth. And so I ran a scan. My gallbladder meridian was double ones. So it means if you look down here, it's blue. It's low functioning. Okay. So what that told me was I had stuck energy in my gallbladder meridian. I have a chart, not on here. I have another chart that I consulted that told me where the start point of the gallbladder meridian was. And I pulled out this red light laser. It's called a Chi laser. It's a 635 nanometer laser. And my beloved wife held the laser up to the start point, which is your right ankle. Or it's one of your start points for the gallbladder meridian. She held it there for 4 minutes. I went to sleep. An hour later, I woke up, my migraine was gone. Okay. So what that laser did was it basically helped clear that stuck energy. And so a lot of times I use the scanner not only to help resolve problems, but also to tell me what's going on energetically in my body so I can work with other frequencies. In this case, a 635 nanometer red light laser to do some basically acupuncture with lasers. So again, a lot of this is Eastern medicine, but it works. And, there's a lot of data to support that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think that the more examples true life examples we can give the listeners or the viewers, while they see this, it helps them to process it, that it really does work.
Absolutely. And so as you go down here, this is what I love about the Easy Scan. So this was all the vitals, and it breaks it down in certain areas. Now, here's something I need to make clear, and I'll show you what the full vitals look like. The full vitals has 801 values in it that it scans, 801. Comprehensive has 103. Easy Scan is only giving you kind of the Cliff's Notes version of that. It's only pulling out those things that wouldn't optimize. So it's kind of like, hey, Steve, these things are imbalanced in your body right now. You need to pay attention to them. Don't worry. Don't start fretting. And so what I start looking for is patterns. As I scan myself daily, I'm looking to see, does my cranial nerve 5 start popping up double ones? If that starts coming up repeatedly over weeks and months, remember, you're looking for patterns over a long period of time, not one scan. Okay.
Right now.
And this is not diagnostic. This isn't like getting an MRI or a CAT scan. So I'm looking for patterns starting to show up. And if I keep seeing it come up, then I need to start to intervene, probably energetically. I'll talk to you a little more about what are some tools we have in the toolkit, to help resolve that. But this is a great way to get a peek into your chemistry and to see what's going on and find out. It's stuff we wouldn't ordinarily know.
Yeah. I think I used it once, how I use it, because I use it as well. But osteoporosis kept coming up on my scan.
Yep.
And it became a pattern. So then rather than go to my doctor and say my scan said I have osteoporosis, I went and said, I think we need to do a DEXA scan on me, and just check out my bones if you don't mind. And then it came up osteoporosis. So I was like, see, I wouldn't have known that to ask for that if I didn't have it come up over and over and over again. Right. So I'm very grateful because it helps me manage my health with my practitioner, and it's been a blessing. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna go for a little break for a moment, a little commercial break, and we'll be right back. So join us, stay with us, and we'll be here for you.
If you want attention, you need more than an ad. You need a presence. Welcome to WWDBTV, your internet streaming TV station built for business and people. We create high-impact commercials and video podcasts with pro production. Then we help distribute your show where audiences already watch and listen. Your brand, your story. Broadcast ready. On streaming, on social, and beyond. Ready to be seen? Visit WWDBTV.com and book your production today.
Welcome back. See, that commercial was wonderful, wasn't it? And if you keep watching our show and you go to the network, you're going to find many, many wonderful learning opportunities. Steve is bringing us today wonderful knowledge about the AO scanner. And so far, you've given us the tools, showed us even how they work, given us live demonstrations, stories, and that is amazing. And I want to thank you because the way we met, right? So that everyone knows, we are both advocates, but I was having some challenges with understanding the AO scan. And so we have this Facebook group, right? And your name kept popping up. And I reached out to you and I said, hey, could you help me with this? And you got right back to me. And I thought, wow, this guy is really the real deal, because it wasn't about, what could you get from me? It was about how can I help you? And that is really kind of where I think we both are living our lives from right now. And even here today is giving us the opportunity to show others ways with, just love and pure honesty. So thank you for being here.
No, you can thank Mama Bosen, my dearly departed mother, Kay Bosen. She instilled in all of us just a deep desire to help people in any way. We did a lot of volunteering when we were kids, Habitat for Humanity, stuff like that. And then, of course, that really kind of propelled me into military service at a young age. And then I had 6 siblings, and 4 of the 6 siblings all went into the Army. So we're all retired senior Army officers. So it's Kay Bosen, her legacy lives on through us. And great example to follow. About a 5 foot red-haired spark plug. You didn't take any. She didn't take any crap from any of us, even though we towered over her. But
Well, that's love, right? That's love. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that you're able to do this with us today, and that your mom gave you that influence.
yeah.
You know,
No, I love helping people.
yeah. All right, so now it looks like we're at the comprehensive, right?
Right. So
We're just going through the easy scan right now. We're trying to give people an opportunity to kind of get a feel for what this looks like, and then also how to respond to it without worrying about things.
right, and this is one of the things I really like about it. So I'm 56 years old. Typically, an older gentleman, your prostate can become a problem. So
Okay.
this is something I kind of keep an eye on. And I, in fact, every night when I go to sleep, I'll talk about multicasting in a minute, but I actually broadcast frequencies to myself to continue to balance myself while I'm sleeping. Because what's the best time for the body to regenerate and heal? When you're sleeping. And so it's a great time to multicast. And so what the comprehensive is, this again is just a snapshot of what's going on in my body. These were the things that wouldn't optimize. And so I'm going to leave Easy Scan, and then I want to go to the inner voice next, and then we'll come back to vitals and comprehensive. Okay. So the inner voice is the most important scan that AO Scan offers a person. Okay, and I'll tell you why. So the first thing is the inner voice is it basically is able to get a gauge of how emotionally balanced we are. And one of the things I love about the inner voice is, and I think even the FDA, I believe I read this somewhere, that even the FDA agrees that about 80% of our physical problems are caused by our emotions. Remember we said earlier on, if you were with us from the beginning, our emotions generally translate in the physical. So it's really important we control how we think, what we say about ourselves, those kind of things. And one of the cool things I like is I like taking a look and seeing where I stand. From my experience of looking at a lot of scans, particularly on myself, because I scan myself several times a day, what I've found is the more emotionally balanced you are, the more you have these 12 zones under 50%. When they're lower, you tend to be more emotionally balanced. You can see I've got 3 of them right now, actually 5 of them that are high out of range. I mean, above the 50% mark. And the numbers at the top here give you what the hertz, like how far out of range they are. And the inner voice has, it's gotten even more powerful. They just redesigned it in September. Lauren Swenson. One of the neat things about AO Scan, they are constantly upgrading this thing. And by the way, they're never going to change the subscription price. That's from the big boss. Put that out. And so they just added to the inner voice a couple extra frequencies we didn't have before. So they have layered on Tesla frequencies, Solfeggio frequencies, binaural beats, and Rife frequencies. And what they did was, I kind of liken it, what Solex likes to do with the AO Scan is, sometimes when they feed you the frequencies that you have to listen to, it's kind of like my mom when I was a kid. She'd put a spoonful of sugar before she put this green goop on there that tasted terrible, and then you'd shove it in my mouth, and that didn't taste so bad because I've tasted the sugar. Well, they did the same kind of thing with the music, only the music that you get the frequencies piggybacking off of is recorded at 432 hertz, which is one of the great healing frequencies. That's where humans tend to be more calm and centered and balanced. And so I'll just give you a sampling. Hopefully my sound comes through. I'll play the sound, see if you can hear this. I'm going to play the high note. Can you hear it? So this music is big, it's cinematic, it's very powerful. And what the inner voice now, the redesigned inner voice is designed to do, it's designed to dig out all these emotions that we kind of push down and suppress or compartmentalize to deal with life. And it helps us get that expressed and get it out of us. And when you do that, you balance yourself emotionally. And then again, you in a lot of ways, you're going to prevent or resolve physical issues that you have. And I was at the gym today working out before we got on there. and I would listen to my inner voice the whole time. And man, I felt like I was walking out on a cloud when I left the gym, because it just really helps you center yourself and balance yourself emotionally. So now for some people that music might be too much. And so what's the start of that? We also have okay. The tonal therapy is basically the frequencies without the music, without the sugar, if you will. And
Without
so that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Without the sugar, yes.
Yeah, without sugar. So for some people, if the music's too much, too cinematic, too bold, they thought of another way for you to listen to. Now, one important point: the people listen to this on this recording, you're not going to get the full effect of the inner voice, because it's designed to be listened to with headphones or earbuds. Basically, what it's going to do is it goes in your auditory nerve and centers itself in your brain. And you need headphones or earbuds to do that. So listening with a speaker or listening through other speakers isn't going to cut the mustard. Part of it is because of the binaural beats. You've got to have two channels going in for it to be effective. But what a powerful tool that you have to balance yourself emotionally. So when you're feeling depressed, or if you're feeling sad, or if you're dealing with, we all have life. We have family issues. We have issues with friends and other people in our lives. This is a great way for you to center yourself and deal with life without, resorting to stuff that has harmful side effects. A lot of people resort to alcohol or drugs or other things to deal with life. This is a really healthy, productive way for you to deal with life and balance yourself emotionally.
It's very true. And it also gives some other data in there, and I use it to help people with setting up their affirmations for the day. Mm-hmm. And sure. I have a formula I use for that. So I love it, because that is kind of my world, is the mental emotional.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT. I've got a GPT that will actually create affirmations based on your. This is something I could show you offline.
On your yeah. Oh, well, we'll have to do that.
Yeah. I can show you after this. I don't want to go off topic here.
I think we have you back again. Okay, like you're gonna have to come back. We're not gonna get everything covered today. Although,
it's a lot to talk about. This is a neat system. All right, moving down the line here. I told you with Vitals has 801 lines. I'm going to give you the full kind of taste of what this looks like. This is what the full is. That's why now you can understand why they created Easy Scan, because people don't have time to look at this, but look at all the information that it can give you about yourself, in the Vitals. And then going to the comprehensive. One of the things I like about the comprehensive, if you put this after you run your scan, now you're looking at the image report. I like to put it in the table report, and I'll tell you why. This gives me an idea of what I look like before the optimizing frequencies were applied, okay? And so if you look here where it says percent from ideal, so 0% is perfect. That's where you have no worries, no imbalances. And as you move to the right from that, 2%, 5%, 10%, that's where more and more imbalances come up. And you can see those displayed in the subcategories over the main categories that are listed here, okay? So what I like to do is look at the percent from ideal and then see how well the scanner has taken me down in a lot of areas. And so you can see here, for example, my pancreas, I was at 50% from ideal. Now, that doesn't mean I've got problems. It just means I had a lot of imbalances for whatever reason in my pancreas. Maybe I ate too much sugar, who knows, And what this did was, after I optimized, look at me, I'm down to 18%. Typically, what I find is 20 and 30% range is kind of a sweet spot for me. That's about where I tend to be after I've been optimized. But I'm a pretty healthy guy. I don't have a ton of stuff wrong with me other than a few musculoskeletal problems from my military service. But I really like, you can see here, my liver was up at 66%. It took me down to 56. So this tells me I'm going to do some more frequencies. I'm going to optimize my liver a little more today just to give it the support it needs to balance itself out. And that's what I love about this scanner, because it gives you a peek into your chemistry energetically, so that you can help do some things to help your body stay in a healthy kind of status quo.
And so on here, I think you can do the custom in the comprehensive. So if you know you're working just like on your liver or your pancreas
Correct.
or a certain,
Yep.
you can just put that in and keep optimizing throughout the day, like you said, sometimes
Right.
4 or 5 times, and you can really see the huge difference, right? Without having to look at all the numbers at one time.
Yeah, I tend to like to take a holistic approach. So I always do combined, and once I've done my scan, I will just select all and then hit optimize, because it does the whole that way, because we don't know what's interconnected. Now, yes, if you just had a particular, like a pain on your wrist or something, you might want to just focus on that area. It does give you that ability. But for general, all-purpose general work, I like to optimize the whole structure. That's just me.
I agree. And I like, because Easy Scan's pulling from the comprehensive and the vital, I'll do at least a big comprehensive and vital at least once a week, if not more. And then when I'm running my Easy Scans, I feel more confident that I'm getting better reads than if it's, that's my experience.
No, that's a great point. I didn't bring that up, but I do very similar to that. I'll probably run full vitals, full comprehensive a couple times a week, just to make sure the scanner's got a good read on me. They also have a body system scan. This is pretty cool because it looks at your whole, it looks at your body systemically. So again, if you had, let's say you were having problems with your heart or something cardiovascularly, then I would, I could deselect all and just focus on my circulatory. You might want to do musculoskeletal because your heart is a muscle, but it allows you to kind of focus if you want. But I want to show you something that's really super cool. Hormones and chemistry.
Yeah.
And I got a testimonial with this one, Christine. So I'm going to run this. It's going to take a few. This is how quick it can be. And it's scanning me because you can see my name, Steve Bosen's, up at the top. I am the target of this scan. That's how the scanner knows. Okay. So this will give you a read on your hormones, and how you read this. Anything that is plus 40% or higher is out of range, or anything that's minus 40% or lower is out of range. So, and the scanner points that out for you. Anything in bold is out of range. Now, my anti-thyroglobulin antibody is just right at the cusp, and then my G6PD is 41%. Now, again, remember I talked to you about my prostate. I keep an eye on that because that is a concern for older men like myself. Look at my PSA right now, 6%. Okay, that's within the normal range. So I'm not saying I'm giving myself a PSA test, but I'm keeping an eye on it. If this thing showed up high on a regular basis, I would probably go get a blood drawn PSA test, see if I got something going on in my prostate. So again, this is a powerful tool for you to figure out if you have to go do more expensive testing or expensive treatment. It's a way for you to take health care under your own control without having to spend a ton of money, in my opinion.
In our own hands, because yes, I agree. Too many people, my experience is too many people giving their power away to doctors or others, and just kind of going with whatever they tell them to do. And I'm not saying the medical world doesn't have its place, but we do have to work collaboratively as a partnership with them.
Correct.
And this gives us that tool for us to do that. And I'm with you. I think every house should have one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We still need trauma care. We still need the medical community. This is not going to supplant that. You really think of it as like a trusted partner to work hand in hand with the medical community, so that if there's something the frequencies can't resolve, then you go and seek, more comprehensive treatment and more in-depth, depending on what it is. So what I like about the chemistry test, and here's my personal vignette. I just had a physical in late December. I had a blood draw in the middle of December. As soon as I had my blood draw done, I walked out into the waiting room and I ran a chemistry scan just like I just did now, not invasively, no wires, nothing poked in me. And I actually put them into ChatGPT. I had Chat analyze my blood results, my lab results when they came back. And by the way, it does the same thing you get with a blood test. It's a CBC. which is a comprehensive blood. I forget what the C stands for. And then the CMP is a comprehensive metabolic panel. Does the same thing in chemistry energetically as what you're going to get with a regular blood test. I had chat analyze my blood test, which it did a better job than my doctor explaining to me what's going on. And then I took my chemistry scan results just like this, because you can. One thing I didn't talk to the audience about, you can actually send your results to yourself. You just hit this little envelope button. It's an email button, and you can send it to yourself. So if you want to keep these scans to refer back to and stuff, you can. Because one of the things this does, you're working with a web-based server. They don't have enough storage space to store everybody's scans from 2 years ago. So it overwrites. The next time you do a scan, it overwrites your last scan. So if you want to save it, you got to email it to yourself. But anyway, one of the cool things with chemistry, so what I was getting at is chat analyzed how accurate the chemistry scan was based off of my blood test, and they were almost spot on. It was really amazing. I put them side by side and using the AI to analyze it for me. So what chemistry does is this allows you, like, look at my scan right now. My white blood cells, this is the neutrophils, the lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, they're all out of range. So what that's telling me, I'm probably fighting something off. I just don't know it. Until the viral load overwhelms your immune system, and I've got a pretty good immune system. I don't get sick very often. But this is telling me I'm probably fighting something off. I just don't know it yet because I'm not physically feeling the symptoms of whatever's going on inside me. Mm-hmm. Looking here, it covers your liver enzymes, your kidney function, your BUN, your BUN creatinine ratio. This is really cool because I like to keep an eye on my kidneys, make sure they're working properly, because I don't want to find out in 10 years I've got late stage kidney disease.
Right.
It looks at your glucose and your hemoglobin A1C, which we all know the hemoglobin A1C is a little more accurate depiction of your blood glucose because it gives you the average over 3 months. So I like keep an eye on that. You can see I'm green here. And then it also look at this and look at my cholesterol. I'm all green there. I actually experience hypothyroidism. So right now my thyroid's looking good. That's great for me to keep an eye on. The C-reactive protein, that's something I keep an eye on because that can be an indicator of inflammation in my cardiovascular system and or potentially cardiovascular disease. So I like to keep an eye on that as well. So this is a really powerful tool for you to keep a handle on what's going on in your body. But there's more.
There's so much more. So with the ups, it's a little elevated or it's decreased, and it's just good again to watch for the patterns. So you get a chance to run the scans, optimize the frequencies, right? Get your balance, and then just pay attention. And I go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but more importantly, it allows you to optimize so you can actually resolve issues, not just see that you may potentially have an energetic problem, but you can actually, another quick testimonial. I use this scanner in conjunction with red light therapy. I have a red light device I was able to put on my arm. I had a flare up of a pinched nerve that I experienced from like 12 years ago. A lot of times when you put body armor on, those plates are heavy. They bang up on your C4, C5, those vertebrae back there. And I pinched a nerve because the nerves come out of the trunk of your vertebrae there. And it took me 12 years ago. It took me like 4 months to resolve, which it ended with an epidural in my vertebrae. They had to literally, sedate me and put a needle in there and inject, I think, some type of corticosteroid and lidocaine to, calm the nerve down. What I experienced 12 years ago was radiating arm pain, neuropathy in my fingers, and it was really painful. Well, when it flared up again, just about 3 months ago, I had a really powerful ally with this scanner. I created a couple custom playlists. I'll show you in a minute in Cephi here how we create custom playlists. I know we're coming up on an hour, but this gives you the ability to make really a recipe. You can build a recipe with frequencies as the ingredients that go into the recipe that you can then either directly imprint or broadcast. Well, what I would do is when I went to sleep at night, I would broadcast frequencies for nerve impingement, nerve regeneration, because I had lost my grip strength. Because the nerve was damaged, my grip wasn't working worth a darn. And I'm a weightlifter, so I'm used to lifting barbells, and my grip strength's pretty good. I used a red light therapy. It's basically a panel that's malleable. You can wrap it around your arm. I took an ACE bandage, held that on. I'd have that on there for an hour. Meanwhile, I'm imprinting frequencies directly in my body. Those two things together, I was able to resolve this, and a little bit of ice, I should add. I was able to resolve this pinched nerve in about 3 weeks, and I'm back to normal. My neuropathies disappeared from my fingers, and I didn't have to go see a doctor at all. But I knew how to take care of myself, in that regard.
Right. When you had
are we going to go on, or do you want me to kind of stop it there?
Yeah, no, I do. I wanted to, because you brought up broadcasting or imprinting, and I think that that's deserves a little bit of explanation, right? Because broadcasting, we're gonna do it either to our headsets or just listen to it, let it play while we're sleeping, whatever. But the imprinting is a fascinating part of it as well. So go ahead and just at least let's bring that into.
Okay, so this is kind of the nerve center of AOScan. CEFI, it stands for Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter. It has got a huge library of frequencies that you can bring to bear to work on a problem energetically. Very good at taking pain away, very good at resolving a whole lot of other things. And so this gives you the ability to create your own custom playlist. You can see I've got about 90 of them. And I've got playlists for flu, for fibromyalgia, H. pylori, leaky gut, you name it. And what I'm talking about when I say broadcast, there's two ways you can actually broadcast. You can either multicast, meaning you can broadcast up to 5 CEFI custom playlists, like I just showed you, to an individual person, and you can create a group of up to 16 people. So you could broadcast this all at once to all those different people, or you can do an individual broadcast where you're just broadcasting one playlist to one person. So it's very simple. And here's the important thing. You don't have to hear these frequencies for them to work on a person. What happens is you're using scalar wave technology. Remember I said this was based on a lot of research from Nikola Tesla and some other geniuses, that worked in our past. What these waves do, they're not encumbered by distance. This is how I was able to do sessions with people overseas and have great results with them. And what happens is these frequencies resonate with your biofield at the cellular level. Okay, so it entrains with the your individual cells. That's why you don't have to hear it. So these things make some of the most ungodly noises you'll ever hear. So a lot of times I just mute once I have them going, knowing they're working, I'll just mute my speakers so I don't have to listen to them. There's only a couple frequencies, one of them being the inner voice harmonics we talked about previously. There's only a few frequencies that have to be heard for them to work effectively. All the rest of them, you can mute your speaker and let them rip. One of the things I like to do when we're talking about imprinting, Solix makes these things called transducers. They're actually supposed to mimic tuning forks. There's a lot of people in the community who like to use tuning forks. And in fact, in CEFI, they have something called AO-Tune, which has tuning fork frequencies in them. And what this does is connect via Bluetooth to whatever device that you have AOScan on. You'd have to set all this up ahead of time. And what it allows the transducers to do is it broadcasts a frequency to the transducer, and the frequencies are then imprinted directly into the body. One of the cool things about these transducers is they're made of cybin and something called black toluramine. I might be saying it wrong. Terminal. Yeah. What these do is these dampen EMF radiation. So you're not pumping EMF in your body when you directly imprint. That's one of the cool things. I mean, Solix products are made so wonderfully. They never bring something to market unless it's the best out there, and that plays out in just about everything they make. And so a lot of times when I'm doing a session with somebody, I will be directly imprinting on myself, acting as a surrogate for that person, or if they're here with me, they'll directly imprint on themselves. That's what I did to resolve my pinched nerve. I would basically my arm was lit up like a switchboard when the nerve was inflamed. And so I would put pain frequencies right there directly on my arm, wrap an ace bandage around it, let it sit, for like an hour while I'm watching TV and stuff. And so this gives you an incredible tool to help you imprint frequencies directly into the body. Now you can use a Bluetooth speaker. I prefer these because they're nice and petite. You can slide them under a shirt, and they'll stay on there. And you can stick them in a lot of places that where it's not, inconvenient or uncomfortable to put them on, as opposed to a Bluetooth speaker.
And so when you say you put it on you and then it goes through you to someone else, is that what you're saying? That you're working with in like another country or another state? And
Right.
so that when it's coming through you, do you have to be on this phone with them, or is it just through the intentions?
It's a lot. Intention is very important in how this works, but a lot of I like to have the person either on it. I typically, when I do my sessions, I do them on Zoom so that I can, because the frequencies. There's some trial and error in using frequencies. It's not bona fide that something that works for me is going to work for you, Christine. And so
Right.
a lot of times there's some trial and error. And typically what I'll do is I'll imprint a frequency, a playlist for 10 minutes. And if I don't see progress, like if their pain levels aren't going down, then I move on to my next option, because that means that group of frequencies are not resonating with that person's body right now. The way this works as a surrogate, up here, that person I'm working on, they're the target up at the top. The scanner's smart. It knows to route the frequencies through me. Basically, I become an amplifier. My biofield amplifies the frequencies, but the scanner routes them, knows to route it to, like if I were working with you, because your name would be up at the top. So they're not going into Steve Bosen, they're going to Christine.
Okay. Good.
That's how it works. And it's amazing. I mean, I've helped a woman in the Netherlands lower the pain in her neck from an 8 out of 10 down to 0. And I was imprinting the frequencies on my neck where she said it hurt.
Okay.
And I follow a process too. It's not, I just don't start imprinting frequencies. I have a process where I run a series of scans and optimizations I call it peeling back the layer. You've got to peel off a lot of negative energy that people collect as they go through life, negative emotions, all sorts of other stuff to get before they can start. You remember I said AOScan creates a safe space so they can heal. Well, I have to go through a process to kind of create that safe space sometimes because people have a lot of chronic pain they've had for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to bring up as well, right? That this is possible, and people don't even know it's possible. So
Absolutely.
taking the time to explain this, I think, is part of what we do. Part of what we do.
It's amazing, and I'm a science-based guy. I don't kind of go on. I mean, I obviously am I believe in faith and that kind of stuff, but I've actually researched this, and there's a lot of scientific research for going back 100 years to back this up. It's not, a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their brain around it because they don't understand quantum physics. But I would just tell people there's a lot of things about our natural and physical world we don't understand yet because we haven't created the right measuring devices to where we can measure that. It's very clear when the cells divide. They've taken picture of this. There's a photon, a biophoton is released. I mean, I've seen videos of that. And so there's a lot of things that go on in our body we just don't understand. But this is based on science, a whole lot of scientific research. And I can tell you personally from doing 117 remote sessions, it works. Now, does it work perfectly on everybody? No, at varying degrees. Some people have a hard time, believe it or not, giving up on their pain. Some people, it becomes that they identify too much with it, and that takes a lot longer to get it resolved. But I could sit here for another hour, Christine, and give you a vignette after.
I know
how well it works. So
I appreciate that, and that pain you were just talking about is called secondary gain, and people, when they understand it, they can release it easier, but they have no clue that it's even happening. So I think that if we just keep doing this, I'd love to have you on again at another time.
Love to come back.
We'll probably percolate on a few things that we could have and should have or whatever, covered. I thought you did an amazing job being able to show us that, what you were talking about, what the scans look like. You made it very comfortable and not too scientific.
Yeah.
I've run into people who'll say, well, I want to know the science of this to me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not the one to tell you the science. Okay. I just
I'm a simple guy.
keep it easy.
Yeah, I like the cell phone analogy because most people have some idea how the cell phone works, and so I like to use that I speak a lot in analogies because people can relate to that a little bit better. But I mean, sure, I can talk quantum physics with you if you want to do that, but most people it's like, so.
Oh, it's over, yeah. And for me to even go there, I'm like lost. So, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to cover before we close this segment out?
Well, when I come back, I can talk. I mean, I've just really given you kind of the tippy top of the iceberg of it's really what I would leave with people is give it a try. It's a subscription-based service that costs $149 a month, $49 annual membership. To me, to take control of your own health care, really people have to decide what is it worth for me to invest in my health or not. To me, if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. So, I mean, I'm grateful at the age of 56 that my joints aren't inflamed like a lot of people. I haven't had knees replaced, and I have beat my body up more than most people will ever do in their life. And I'm here to tell you, at the age of 56, after using this for 2 years, I feel as healthy as I did in my 20s. And so, that's something to leave people with, and that's not hyperbole, that's fact. I mean, I wake up every day and I'm so grateful I can go to the gym and work out, and I can move, I can go for long walks with my wife and enjoy nature, because that's what life is about. It's not sitting on a couch watching TV or, it's relationships, it's being able to interact with people, interact with your community. So this allows you to have your health to go do that or any other pursuits that you want to do in life. So
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And I just before we end, I have my 2 granddaughters over the other day, and they're 3 and 5, right? And they love scanning. Okay, I ran them through 3 of the majors. I did the comprehensive, I did the body, and I did the vitals, and they just lay there and loved every single minute of it. But I wanted to get those in when I had them so that I can run the quicker, easy scans on them when I see them, in between my long sleepovers, we call them,
Well, one thing I forgot to mention, Christine, you can use this on pets as well. So dogs, cats, and horses. You telling me about your granddaughters made me think of another thing. I've used this to resolve issues on my great peer Zeus, who tends to bumble in about every hole I have in my yard and twist his knee every now and then. This thing is amazing. You can use this also on your pets to keep them healthy. So that's another major bonus to having this. It's your whole family. You can take your whole family.
It's the whole family.
Otherwise.
And it is, I've been doing this, I told you, since 2020, and it's been 149 the entire time. And I always tell myself, whether I'm using it every day or not, I have it at my disposal and to my family, with my family. So it's been a wonderful investment for me, and to help others too, my clients and different people, over the years. That once you have it, there is no limit to how much you can use it. Right. So some systems have that. This one is not that way. So I encourage our listeners and our viewers to get a hold of Steve, ask your questions, ask about his team. If you have any for me, same thing's available. We're here for you. The contact information for you, Steve, would you like to share that? And I know we'll put it up on the screen.
Sure.
But want to give it now?
People can reach me one of 2 ways. I'm on Gmail, so I'm sbosen, BOESEN, the number 6 at gmail.com. And then you can also just reach out and text me. My number is 515-650-0100. So those are probably the two best ways to contact me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for taking your time, your wisdom, and your love and sharing it today with us.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And thanks to John too, off camera for
Yeah,
helping get this thing off the air. Thank you.
John is the great team. All right. So, goodbye. We'll see you next week. Thank you so. Thank you for joining us on the Local Wellness Network. If today's conversation resonated with you, we invite you to connect with our guests, explore upcoming shows, and become part of a growing community focused on whole person wellness. You'll find links, resources, and ways to stay connected at our website, localwellnessnetwork.com. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.